Hi, it's Amanda from Taylor Transformations, and I am here again with a lovely wellbeing business. And I'm just going to hand over to you to introduce yourself and tell us what it is you do and what you're all about.
Lovely. Hi. Well, I'm Penny Woodridge, and I am a Pilates teacher. Is my sort of main job. That's what I do most of, in and around Launceston, which is where I live. And so I do group classes of Pilates in the local village halls. And I also
Yeah,
do. I have some private clients as well, so I do a little bit of private work. Just like one to one, and mostly it's to build confidence to come to class, which is good. So usually it's sort of like a short spell of classes to build up that confidence. But some people like
yeah,
to just have me come to them weekly as well. So yeah, that's what I do mostly. But I also am an energy healer, so I'm a crystal healer, energy
okay.
alchemy, under that umbrella. So I don't do a lot of that, but I do, do regular. I have been for about, I suppose, 4 years now. And I love that, and I'd love to do more of that really. So I do love that. And I mean, I absolutely love crystals. And I do a lot of work on myself then, I guess, but just
Yeah.
not an awful lot of work on clients. So yeah, Pilates is my main job. Um, yeah, so also I've written a book. So that was a
Oh,
bit of
fantastic.
an accidental book. Just coming from my own experience. So it's a holistic approach to menopause. And it just started as me just, it was quite cathartic writing down, my thoughts and stuff. And because I went through menopause quite young, I always said to my friends, like, by the time you lot get to menopause, I'll be an expert. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I started writing it down for them, I guess, really, and then it just sort of went. It got bigger than I thought it was going to. So I've actually self-published and sort of sell that in the local area
Amazing.
as well. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice,
Fantastic. And
nice
yeah,
to do.
and you're hearing so much more now. A lot of people are starting with menopause so early. I mean,
Yeah,
I've heard of quite a few of just my friends alone that have started with a heck of a lot younger than expected. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
definitely
It's
worth
really
a
strange, isn't it? Yeah, I guess we're a bit more aware of symptoms now. So it's that perimenopause phase, isn't it, that people
yeah.
are really, obviously picking up on, and lots of different symptoms. And our lifestyles are different now than they used to be, I guess, as well. Not always making right choices and things like that. So it doesn't always help, does it?
Yeah, and I love the holistic approach that you're going with as well. So it's something just a little bit different, and especially with
Mm,
people that don't want to go down the lines of the drugs and
yeah.
the medication and all the rest of it. So
Yeah.
that's
There's
fantastic,
people
brilliant.
also that either don't want to out of choice or that can't, if they've had some sort of
Yes,
treatment for cancer and things like different reasons why people actually can't take it either. So yeah, it's just nice for them to have. And even if you did take, prescription medications, my book would help you alongside that. It's that holistic approach, isn't it? It's a complementary
yeah.
therapy type of thing. So yeah, it's good for everybody really. So even if you didn't consider yourself alternative, it's quite a good bit for everybody really. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, and we'll pop that on the slides at the end as
Okay,
well, so you
cool.
can get all the
Yeah.
details and everybody can reach out and go grab it.
Yeah, lovely.
So, can you start by just telling me how you got where you are today? I know you've covered little bits of it, but if you any more detail you want to go into?
Yeah, well, I guess it's been a long journey. Like, life is like that, isn't it? I'm coming up to 45 and I spent 25 years in health and social care,
Okay.
mostly supporting people with learning disabilities. And I did elderly care when I was a teenager and worked in local care homes and the local hospital, and then got into learning disabilities, and I did that for a long time. And I guess while I was doing that, the Pilates thing started for me because I mean I always liked exercise. I liked sort of walking on the moors and swimming and things like that. But going to exercise classes for me, I wasn't really keen on those sort of high impact types. Like being I'm 6 foot, my back hurts sometimes because I'm tall and I've worked in health and social care for a long time. So I tried lots of different classes like Zumba and kettles, and I was just rubbish at it really. And then I discovered Pilates. I went along to my local leisure centre, went to the Pilates class, and that was it. I just fell in love with it straight away. So I went to classes for about 4 years, I guess. And my teacher, after about a year, she said to me, "I really think you should consider becoming a teacher yourself," because she'd seen the progress I'd made so quickly, kind of thing, and she could see that I got it. So
Yeah.
I didn't do anything for a year. I thought, I couldn't do something like that. I didn't think that was something you could kind of make a living out of either. And I was sort of busy in my full-time job, so I didn't think about that. But anyway, a year went by, another year went by, and she said, have you done anything about this yet? And I said, no, I haven't, but I will, because I thought, okay, fine. So anyway, I qualified to teach, started teaching as working full time as a manager in health and social care. I was working full time and I was doing Pilates as well. So I was starting to sort of do that in the
Okay.
evenings and things. And I was able to kind of work my rotas around, like one or two classes a week. So that worked well. And then I just took the plunge really, because my classes built up to the point where I had to make a decision which way I was going to go.
Yeah.
I guess alongside that, I was having a spiritual journey. Alongside that, I was starting to, question things. You get to a certain age, and you know, my gran passed away, and sometimes those things can sort of leave you with, sort of, questioning where you're going and all those sorts of things. So, yeah, so
Hmm.
I started to train as an energy healer. So I was doing that as well. And then I just took the plunge and gave up my job. Just at it was 2020. So, and I gave up my job in March, and then we went into lockdown, and I couldn't teach Pilates, and I'd given up a full-time job to do that, and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I mean, luckily I joined the flexi team for the local hospital, so I worked in the hospitals
Okay.
for a couple of years. That sort of kept me going. But I sort of thought, no, this is I'm not giving up on the Pilates.
Yeah.
So eventually I was able to go back to teaching, obviously with some restrictions for a bit, but yeah, and then I was able to go back to it, get to it full time, and so I was lucky that it sort of paid off really,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I just love it. Absolutely love it. A massive lifestyle change compared to before. Quite
Yes.
stressed and quite responsible, and working all unsociable hours, weekends, evenings, sleep-ins, all that sort of stuff now. I've managed to create a lifestyle as well, if you know what I mean, that
Yeah.
goes with it. And I've been able to do that because I'm not working full time anymore. I feel very fortunate and very lucky, to do
Yeah. It
what I
makes a
do.
big difference. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
does your Pilates mesh quite well with the holistic work that you've done, or are they two separate entities in terms of what you do?
It does, because actually I support a group. There's a pain cafe, a local pain cafe where people who live with chronic pain go along and have a support group. And I go along to that every a month and do a mindful movement session with them. So I sort of combine my Pilates with my healing and that sort of meditation, guided meditations and things. So that's quite a nice
Amazing.
thing to go together. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's nice.
That sounds fascinating. Yeah, they do have a pain cafe in the local leisure centre near here. I always wondered what it was, so it's
Yeah.
interesting to find
There
out a
are a
little
few
bit more.
dotted around.
Yeah,
They're sort of popping up over. I think it's sort of becoming a national thing that sort of, I think they say the NICE guidelines are saying that you have to have something in place like that now for people who take a lot of medication and things to find alternative ways of managing their pain. So it's really good. It's really nice to be part of it as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. So, how
Mm.
would you, from a very lay person's point of view, how would you describe what Pilates is? So, obviously, there's like Pilates, there's yoga. What is the main difference and the
Well,
benefits you
people
get
often
from
ask me what the
Pilates?
difference is between Pilates and yoga, and I guess the focus is slightly different, and also that yoga is like it's like this sort of ancient art which encompasses everything from breathing to the postures and things that they do, and
Yeah,
I guess the focus of yoga is very much on it's a bit of a spiritual, it's a bit more spiritual than Pilates. Um, but it's very similar in that you sort of just need your body and a mat, and you can, the focus is on mobility and strength and flexibility, and that's what my focus is. And when people say to me, "Oh, since I've been coming to your class, I can now, reach to do this, or I can do this without falling." Or, a lady like could put, shook a stone out of her shoe or stood on one leg, and I was like, "That is what I love about this." So it's balance, coordination, it's that mind-body connection. So you do get a similar benefits from doing yoga and Pilates for sure. And Pilates focuses a little bit more on core strength. So that's sort of,
yeah,
your abdominal muscles and things more than sort of balancing and stretching. Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
fascinating. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's really helpful. So what's the favorite part of your job then?
Pilates, really. I guess, I mean, I love doing energy healing and I absolutely love it, to do it. I'd love to do it more, but I guess because I do Pilates more, I really enjoy it, and I just love that connection with people. I
Yeah,
don't think I could do it. That's what I love about it is the people. And when during the lockdowns, I could have done Zoom classes. A lot of people did, a lot of people did online, or they would record themselves and upload it somewhere. But it's not for me. I'd rather just be in person, stood in a hall with, 10 to 15 people looking at me. And you get that, yeah, people. I just like people and community. One of my personal values is community. And I just love working
Yes.
in the community halls and in the village hall. And, very often, like, I'll have to give up my class one evening because the school have got their Christmas play in it. And well, I don't mind that because that's lovely. That's the whole point of it. It's like
Yeah.
you're in a community hall, you have to fit in with the community. So it's really nice. So definitely Pilates and definitely that connection with people is my favorite thing.
That's
Yeah.
lovely. Yeah, yeah. So, is there any misunderstandings about what you do in your line of work?
I guess from Pilates' point of view, people say to me, "Oh, I couldn't come to Pilates. I'm not very flexible." And I think, well, that's more reason to come to Pilates because then you might
That's
be
the point.
flexible. You don't go to French evening classes if you can speak fluent French, do you? You come to learn to be flexible. So that's a little bit of a misconception with that. They all people think that you're, what they see on, I don't know, like Instagram or something. That it's sort of, you have to be super super strong and super skinny or anything like that. And I'm not super skinny, so yeah, so that's a misconception with that, I guess, really. But I guess with healing, people don't understand it really, and they don't believe in all that. That's what I get quite a lot. Oh, I don't believe in all that. And I think, well, there's a lot of things that when you think about that healing energy and that those vibrations, when it comes to crystals and things like that and the properties in those, I always say to people, you can't see gravity, but you believe it's there, don't you? People believe in gravity. It's
Yeah.
invisible. But also wind. You can't see wind. You can see the trees moving in the wind and your hair blowing in the wind, but you can't actually see the wind, but you know it's there and you believe it's there. So, and they go, oh, it sort of gets them thinking then that sometimes there are things that happen, and that in your aura that not everyone can see. You can't see your aura. Not most people can't see auras, can they? So yeah, I guess there's a lot of misconceptions really around my healing work. Yeah, and it's just because people don't understand it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And there is a lot of science back behind a lot of this stuff as
Mm.
well. I mean,
Yeah.
we were talking recently of that the Why Woo Woo Works, I think is the book that we were talking about the other month, which is basically all the science behind all the things seen as woo woo,
I
the
love that word.
crystals and all the rest of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. And again, I know whenever I'm doing any of my work, I sort of say, do you want the woo woo definition or do you want the science as well? Or do you
Yeah.
want both? I can give you it,
Either one.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, 'cause there's always something behind it. And again, we talk about how the mind works and everything. So belief in something anyway,
Mm.
you're halfway there. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
If you
Yeah.
believe it's working, your brain will go, right, this is working, it's definitely doing something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
People
fascinating,
are
fascinating.
changing. People are finding, alternative solutions to their problems and things, aren't they now? I think it's more open.
Yes.
And I guess I move in circles of people who are like-minded. So I don't come across many people that don't know what I'm talking about. So it's.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those until you try something, you don't know
Mm.
if it's going to work for you.
No,
And that's what a lot of these conversations are about. It's about getting the information out there that there is other things, there are alternatives, and just get out and give it a go, try it,
yeah,
because you never
yeah,
know. It might be the thing
absolutely.
for you.
It might be the absolutely thing for you. In my book, I talk about the benefits of crystals for menopause and
Oh,
and talk about
fantastic.
energy healing. So I recommend a few. And a few of the ladies who bought my book have come to me, a few weeks later, going, "Oh, I've got some crystals coming, or I've ordered some crystals, and they've gone shopping or whatever." So that's really exciting that they're getting into that sort of stuff. And I've got them in my bra, and I'm like, "Ooh."
Oh, it's great. That's
Yeah, it's great.
amazing.
Yeah.
You're just getting that feedback as well just makes a big difference.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, it's
So,
good.
what advice would you give someone who wants to do what you do then?
As in become a Pilates teacher or an energy healer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it, the whole package.
the whole package. You've just got to do it. If it's something you want to do, then just do it. And don't ever compare and it's very cliche to say, but don't ever compare yourself to anybody else because you are you. And, like somebody might be a Pilates teacher and a personal trainer and, do something else sort of thing. Like, but you don't, but you can mix and match you don't have to be one thing. You don't have to just be a Pilates teacher or just be a teacher or a nurse or work in a shop. You can do whatever you want to. But actually, if you're really passionate about something and you have a job that's just a regular job, you don't actually have to, your thing that you're passionate about doesn't need to necessarily be a job either. It can just be a hobby, I could have just kept it at 2 Pilates classes a week that I teach just because that's my hobby and I want to do that. I didn't have to change, I didn't have to completely, change my job to do that. So it doesn't have to be like a massive, massive change. It can just be a small one. Yeah, and I think you just have to, if it feels right, a lot of the time when I was writing my book, I would write things down or type them, and then I would sort of read it back and I think, did I write that? Like I don't remember. It was like I felt like I was channeling something, like, and
In
I
the
get these
zone.
like what I call downloads. So I'd be in the shower and I get this download, and I think, oh God, I need to write that down. And where's that come from? Like, awkward moment, or I'm out walking the dog and I haven't even got my phone with me, So I guess yeah, you just have to trust your instincts and trust the universe that will guide you, and just be open to doing. Things that you love really, and start somewhere. Just pick up a book. Just go in to Waterstones and find the alternative section and pick up a book and just read it, and it might just lead
Yeah,
you somewhere, just start somewhere. Your spiritual journey is your spiritual journey, and everybody is different. You don't have to, even there are so many groups out there as well, aren't there? Which is great. You can
hmm
get together in a drumming circle or, go into a meditation or spiritual development stuff. But and that's lovely, but you don't have to go to those groups. You can just have your own spiritual journey by yourself. And I guess for me, if one thing I would always encourage people to do is just spend as much time in nature as possible,
yes,
because we're just bombarded with media, social media, telly, the radio, even like magazines and books and things, but if you actually get to the the grit and the earth, of this world, then you'll find a lot of your answers there, really. You don't have to read anything. You can just sit quietly under a tree, you know. So,
yeah, yeah,
that's what I think. People need to spend more time, in nature somehow, and just be aware of it, like really aware, stop and listen, stop and
yeah,
just be still, really.
definitely. I mean, the grounding effect alone has so much
Yeah.
benefit for you. I mean, back in the day, when they were cavemen and all the rest of it, they weren't wearing rubber soles on the feet. The feet were
No,
constantly in contact
they
with
were
the
just
earth all the time,
connected.
and the benefits you get just from that. I mean, I've read
Yeah.
so much into sort of that area, and it's absolutely fascinating. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I must
Yeah.
admit, I've even noticed that when we moved into this house, it's got artificial grass at the back,
Oh,
and
okay.
I'd never had that before. I
No.
get very staticky shocks off it and
Ew,
everything, which
yeah,
I wasn't
yeah.
expecting. So it feels very different than just
Yeah.
having my feet on just normal grass.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's amazing. It's just
Yeah.
fantastic.
Well, they say the roots of the trees are all connected and the vibrations, and just even if you aren't stood on, like, you don't have to hug a tree, even you can just walk past a tree, and if there's lots of trees around, yeah, I do love a
Yeah.
tree.
Trees, forests, and the sea. That's me done then. If I get
Yeah,
them both together, even better.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Be there all
perfect.
day.
Yeah.
So, what inspires and motivates you?
People, the people that come to my classes, because they come at, they're so committed to themselves, and there's a sense of loyalty. I feel their
Mm.
loyalty to me as well, and each other. And when they're giggling at each other across the room, and there's people that didn't know each other beforehand, and I just love it. They've all got their places that they sit, and then if someone's on the wrong side, someone will go, oh, you're doing over that side today. It's just lovely. And the connections that they make with each other as well,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's the people that motivate me for sure. To be committed to them as well, like as they're as committed as they are to coming, I'm committed to them, and the progress that people make, what they're able to do when compared to when they first came, and and it's not about you doing anything major, it's just about being able to reach the top shelf or, like I say, stand on one leg and shake the stone out of their boot without falling over.
And it
Yeah.
makes such a big difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or even just someone that comes to me and says, oh, look what I can do. And they lift their arm up. And I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Because they've had this terrible problem with their shoulder, you know. Yeah. A lady the other day said she had a long car journey and she was dreading it because she would get really uncomfortable sitting for so long. And she said, "Oh, I was fine the whole way, you know, just because she's been coming to
Fantastic.
Pilates. Yeah. And I just thought, yeah, it's that. That's what motivates me. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Yeah.
Mm.
Just that feedback, and again, like you said, you got your own little mini community there as well.
Mm.
And what better way is there to
Yeah.
learn something and to, you know, work on your body with having all that support
It's
around
the
you.
benefit. Yeah. The benefits are more than that. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Fantastic. So we're all about well-being here. So can you tell me what well-being means to you?
Mm. Being happy in your own skin, I guess, and your own head. I'm in my head a lot. So for me, I need quiet sometimes. I need to go and I need to spend time alone because I people all the time. I'm peopling and I love that. But sometimes I need to go, no more peopling, no more peopling for me. So my well-being needs me to be on my own sometimes, and that's not even with the dog. If I'm going to go for a walk without the dogs, I need to go and be by myself. So yeah, so I guess yeah. I suppose well-being is different for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, such a wide topic.
It is, and it can be physical well-being, like I feel like I'm well because my knees don't hurt today, or do I feel well because I'm not chuntering in my head today? It's that whole thing, isn't it? And I guess
Hmm.
one goes hand in hand with the other sometimes as well, doesn't it? When
Yeah, yeah,
your mind isn't well, then your body is probably not going to be well either. Yeah. And I guess, and what you like, surround yourself with as well. And that includes like the people in your life, like, just to
yes,
stay away from sort of toxic people, really. Because people don't mean to be sometimes, but they just can be. And I think if you just, yeah, can just steer away from, negative topics and conversations and stuff, it just, it helps with your well-being and everybody else's, I guess, as well, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Not
And
comparing yourself to other people as well, or comparing other people to other people. Everybody's
yes,
different, aren't they? Everyone's dancing, got their own, thing. You just dance to your own tune, I think, really.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Mm.
So, so what do you have in your well-being toolkit then? What do you use to sort of keep you going through the day, or maybe if you're not feeling too great, what would be your go-to?
Go to quietness, stillness. So I'll just sit in my chair. I've got like what I call my old lady chair in the dining room, and I'm just going to sit in my old lady chair and drink a cup of tea, and just be still, and with no music on, not the radio going, just being still. That I think for me, that is what I need. And I do love a bath. I'll go and read a book in the bath and things like that. So I do tend to try and look after myself quite a lot because I'm a sort of quite an empath and I'm a giver and I love that sort of service to community. And like I say, I do a lot of peopling. So I do, but I am also very good at looking after myself and taking myself off for a walk around Sibley Back Lake or something on my own, or
Yeah,
Burrator or wherever, I just think it's not selfish. And, you don't,
absolutely not.
there seems to be this sort of sometimes people wear it like a badge of honor how busy they are because like they're just busy, 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 or and I just think actually it's not very, it's not good for you to be busy all the
No,
time, and it's not a
not something to be
competition.
proud of.
No, not really. No, no. And if you need to look at your life if that's the case. Yeah. So I just think stillness and quiet for me is, you know, my my tool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what you go to. Yeah,
Yeah, that's my go-to. Yeah. Yeah, for some people it might be, oh, I'm going to just go out and party. I need to just go and let some energy off or all that sort of stuff. That might be their thing that they need to let their hair down or whatever. Um, yeah, but no, mine is quiet.
that's it. You just got to find what works for you. And
Yeah,
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 I love it.
yeah.
So, are there any well-being resources that you can recommend for people listening today? Or
Well, I don't do a lot of no, I can't think of anything like those sort of, any good podcasts or anything or like, books or anything like that, really. I guess you just find your, because you can recommend books to people, or people recommend books to you, and you can read them and you think, well, that didn't really do it for me. And then they might read your book recommendation and they think, well, that didn't really do it. They didn't really do it for them, kind of thing. So yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Well, there is your own book as well, so
Well, of
that
course, there is
of
that.
course, it's a great resource.
A
So,
great resource, yeah. I mean, I do talk about outdoors in my book. I do talk about other things. And I think even if you aren't, even perimenopausal, never mind sort of menopausal, I think it's a helpful book just for general lifestyle because it does help your, mind, body, spirit. It's that whole thing really.
yeah. Where can people buy your book? Is it
Well, at the
about
moment,
presumably
just
available?
from me, so I
Okay,
just sell them,
fantastic.
yeah. So I have sold them at a few like events, and actually this weekend, on Saturday in Launceston Town Hall is the Feel Good Festival,
Oh
run by.
yes, I'm there.
Oh, are you? Ah,
I
good.
am.
So yeah, and that's so yeah. I mean that there are events like that then. So there are mind body
Yes,
spirit fairs and festivals, sort of all around the area really. Tavistock, Plymouth, Callington, Ivy Bridge. I think I've seen them, advertised. I think there's one in Loo coming up. So yeah, I'm just going to sell them at those. I've booked into a few and I'm selling them at those for a minute, really, because it feels quite precious, and I don't really want to. I mean, people have said to me I could put it on Amazon or something, but I don't really want to at the minute. I want to just keep it for me and sell it to people face to face. It's that connection again. It's that people. So, but yeah, if anybody wants to get in touch, then obviously get in touch. I can post them. There's no problem. Just
fantastic.
drop me a message or an email or whatever, and I can post them to you.
Yeah. And as I say, we'll
Yeah.
post all of your socials
Yeah.
on the back of this, so you'll be able to find her and reach out and go grab
Yeah.
you. Well, I can meet you at the festival as well, face to face. That'll be
Yes.
nice.
See you there. Lovely.
So, have you got any new projects or anything coming up that you'd like to tell us about?
Well, I have started accidentally writing another book.
Oh, fantastic.
Because in the book I've already written, I touch on the facts that are, especially as a woman, your life is like a year. Then you go through the season. So, and it's that maiden mother crone, reference.
Yes.
And I touch on it in my book, but my book's not about that, so I don't go on. But I've started writing a book about the wheel of the year and the seasons as you go through, and how not only to sort of embrace those sort of dark January days, and if you're feeling a bit low and gloomy, kind of just go with it, those sorts of things, and but also but how that translates in your life as well. So preparing your life for winter. So if you're a woman who's in menopause and is entering sort of 60s and 70s, how can you prepare yourself for your 90s, 80s and 90s kind of thing, by
Yeah.
doing things like Pilates, keeping yourself fit and strong and mobile, and looking after yourself and eating well, all those sorts of things. So yeah, I have started writing it, and again I just keep
Fantastic.
getting these downloads, and I keep writing, like being in the shower and writing down when I get out of the shower. Um so yeah, I mean, this my first book. I wrote the title, "The Alternative Woman," on the notes in my phone in 2018, and it's only
Oh,
just
wow.
finished now because I was just full of self-doubt, and it just took me ages to sort of get around to actually publishing it. So yeah, I don't know when I'll finish this one, but I've started it, so there.
Well, exactly.
It's a
There's an
start.
achievement in itself.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, so it'll be based on the wheel of the year and the seasons that we go through in our life as well as the year. Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, brilliant. So that's one for everybody to look out for then. Amazing.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
So, is there anything that we've not covered that you'd just like to add, either around well-being, around what you're doing, anything along at all, really?
I don't think so. I mean, I could talk about it all day. That's the trouble. I just waffle on and repeat myself. So I don't want to do that.
Sound like
So
me.
I guess, yeah. So I guess anybody could get in touch, in touch with me. Obviously, you're going to link my contact details and things like that into it. So yeah, I'm just. And come along to the Feel Good Festival if it's not. too late.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure you'll be posting about all different other events you're going to be throughout the
Yeah,
year and your
yeah.
socials as well. Yeah,
That's right.
fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you're welcome to follow me. I've got my own personal Facebook page, and then I've got Energy Alchemy and a Penny Pilates as two separate sort of business pages as well. So you can give me a follow. I don't massively post a lot, but I'm there anyway.
It's a good way to contact you and see what
Yeah,
you're up to.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you ever so much for joining me
You're very
today. It's been
welcome. It's lovely to chat.
lovely, lovely. Yeah, fantastic meeting you. And as I say, everybody, I'll post everything at the end. Feel free, reach out, go check our socials, leave us some love, and get that book. It sounds amazing. Definitely
Yes.
can think of several people
Maybe
I
this
want to get it
this
for.
has spurred me on.
Absolutely. Right, so we'll see everybody soon. And yeah, thank you again for joining. So bye guys.
Bye.